Quick then today.
Daniel, thank you for joining us. Let's do the team news. I think the big one will be Ethan Ampadu first. Have you had the assessment? How serious is the injury or not?
Yes, a few things we have to speak about today. So with Ethan, sadly I have to confirm it's a serious knee injury. He has damaged his lateral ligament. The doctors have recommended conservative treatment, so he doesn't need surgery. But at this moment, it's always a bit difficult to predict how long he will be out, but it's realistic to speak about 10 weeks till he can return back to team training. Could be a few days more, a few days less, depending on the rehab. So at the moment, you would expect him to be back in team training. Yes, perhaps at some point during December, and yes, obviously then he also needs a bit of team training before he's available back for the games. So means at the moment we expect him to be just back available at some point at January.
I know he's a strong character, but that's a long time to be out, and got to get your head. All of you got to get your heads around it. But it means an immediate change now, and a step up for somebody. You know, whether it be Tanaka or Rothwell or whoever, I suppose now.
Yes, that's always a topic. So also once you plan a season, so you have to expect that there will be injuries, especially with such a relentless schedule. Obviously, you're always hoping for a bit luck that, especially also your key players are available. Yes, of course, if Ethan is our captain, is one of our most important players, if not the most important player. So he's a key piece for our balance between defensive stability and our offense. And of course, it's a big blow for us that he's not available. But sometimes you have to adapt to it. Sadly, we have at the moment a few problems in terms of injuries. So at the moment, I can also confirm that Max Wöber is set for surgery. It will happen tomorrow, so he needs a meniscus repair. We expect him to be out for about 6 weeks till he's back in team training. Yes, and obviously also for the Norwich game right now, we will also travel without Daniel James, without Manu Solomon, and also Isaac Schmidt is out. So he reported some glute problems on Sunday. The turnaround is too quick; he won't make it. We have a few problems, but this is what happens during the season. And it's not like to feel too sorry for yourself. And of course, we are disappointed and feel not great that so many important players are out at the moment, and also that there are serious injuries, especially with Max and with Ethan. Of course, that's not great, but you have to get on with it, and you have to find some other solutions. Always a chance then for other players to step up, especially in the midfield role. So right now, also like in the perhaps even the central defending. Last game, for example, Tanaka played more minutes. Joe Rosswell was already involved, so we have some options, and it's up to find some good options, especially for the next month. Yes, that's right.
With such a busy week as well, what about the centre-back pairing? Because they've gone through their own sort of injuries or semi-injuries as well, haven't they? With Pascal struggling a little bit and Joe, are they going to be okay this week?
Yes, they are available for the game. Obviously, you're always a bit concerned when there's such a quick turnaround, and 3 games within 6 days is a bit mad in terms of the schedule. But we also know this. We are used to it, and you have to be smart in what you're doing in terms of training, recovery. So also the players have to be very professional in their habits and good sleep, good nutrition, to do everything to support the recovery. And if you have some injuries in your squad, it's even more important that everyone is really switched on this moment. We try to support them in the best possible way, and of course, so there's not much time for proper team training during the games, so a bit difficult then to prepare for the next opponent. But to be honest, it's also like for our opponents more or less the same. So for that, I don't want to complain too much about it. Sometimes during a season there are some tricky situations. Then it's important that you stick a bit even more together and dig even a bit more in and to grind out results. And this is what we try to do, especially in the next 5 days. But overall, then also without Ethan, without Max for a bit longer period, also then in the next weeks and the next month.
Are you looking particularly at people like Pascal Strout now to really step forward in the absence of the captain and be that leadership group and show it on the pitch even more than maybe you've probably wanted them so far?
No, because he's always a big leader for us and has won also the captain armband on many occasions, also last season. And he, especially last season, was once he was available, I think a big step forward also in terms of his leadership skills, in terms of his personality. And for me, he was also like during the whole season so far always a key player and a big leader. I think fantastic performances. So far, he could also right now chip in with a few goals if it's out of penalties or perhaps out of a set piece. But apart from this, I think his performance is on the top level, and of course, it's even more important that he delivers right now, even a bit more. But in terms of leadership, he was already together with our key players there, and I don't expect him to do anything different to what he's done also in the recent weeks.
Daniel, it's in a weird way, some of the injuries already this year have given people maybe more minutes than they would have had, Largi, Ramazani, maybe Saturday, our Tanaka. How come they've been able to fit in so quickly into what you're doing?
I like to praise them. Of course, we try to support with our tools, with lots of communication, with showing them also videos and individual scenes in order to improve them even more, what we want to have from them in terms of their positioning, in terms of their passing choices. So to bring our principles of football in an ideal world exactly on the pitch, but it's always up to the players. And again, so I think we should be also a bit careful in order to praise them too much. I'm happy what they've done so far, I have to say. But in all areas, there's lots of space for improvement. And we'll also hold the pressure high that they keep going and improving. Their fitness and so their physicality to be ready really for full 90 minutes with highest intensity. And also they have quality, potential, skills. They are more or less also several young players, but they are working really hard and great characters. I spoke this even after the signings for us. It's important also to have good personalities and good characters within this group, because with good characters it's even a bit easier to make sure that one day they will reach this level. They're on a good path, but again, they're not the finished end products, and it's hard to replace straight away proven players like in the offense. Daniel James or Mano Solomon, or right now in the more defensive positions, proven players like Ethan or like Max, but they're on the good way at the moment, and for that, yes, we go with what we've got at the moment, and we have all rights also to be optimistic.
So for me, Norwich, there seemed to be a different proposition, obviously in terms of manager, but also a few personnel changes. Are you expecting quite a different side compared to what you saw at the back end of last season?
Yes, definitely different. So first of all, they had several changes also in key positions, but for me, they are really a strong side. They have a good balance between experience and youth. So still very experienced players for this level with, Duffy, McLean, Sargent meanwhile as well, but also some really good young players with lots of potential. So there seemed to be there was a good mix. Especially with really good results in the recent games, impressive home form, so unbeaten at home. Last home game was an impressive win over Watford. Impressive away win. I think the first team since ages who was able to win 3 points at Derby. So they're in a good shape, and they play also from their processes with a clear structure, with clear principles, and pretty flexible. It's not easy to prepare for what they do, because they have many options in terms of what they want to do on the pitch. But we also have a good side, and each and every game is also difficult. So we are traveling respectful, especially also regarding our situation at the moment, but also fully aware that we are also in a good shape, and we want to use this good shape in order, to stabilize and improve our position further on.
You had quite a big threat last season from Ethan playing long balls from deep into the runs of strikers or the number 10. How will you keep that as part of your game now that he's not available? Can the current players still do that?
It's always a bit difficult once you have a player who has a special skill really to replace it one on one. I totally agree. So Ethan has a good feeling for one, sometimes also to mix it up with a chip ball, either to create an easy chance or just to stretch your opponent also sometimes. And he has a good eye and a good feeling for the moment. I have to say, especially in the last games, Ilya Gruev played some really good balls also in this terms when I think about the scene with Jayden Bogle in the first half, for example. So it's important that we still also show this tool and show this skill in order to be less predictable. And I totally agree. If Easton is not on the pitch, perhaps also one or two players have to step up who don't show the skill that often. But especially in the last games, I was also pleased with the passes of Ilya. Yeah, Ao is a player who can do this, so he has also delivered a quite similar ball once Willie assisted to Joel Pirot's goal. Joe Roswell can do this, so we have players there, but it's definitely a fact that we have also to show the skill also in the next weeks. Yes.
Is the language barrier ever a barrier to you getting your message across to players? I mean, I know Ao has some grasp of English. Do you speak to him in German, or how do you deal with situations like that?
If I'm honest, I think his English is already better than his German. So for that, it's not a big problem. Yeah, the good thing is with him, he's also a smart boy. Of course, it will last a little bit till he's really fully aware of each and every expression, especially the football language is also slightly different to what you perhaps also learn in school. But the longer he is with us together, I think the more his English will also improve. And he tries to bring himself into this group, also like with being in touch with all the others. Yes, we try to support him also in learning even a bit more. It's definitely a fact that in the beginning it's also not that easy, and you have to give him also a bit time to settle. But the good thing is football language is also more or less like to understand for good football players, and that makes life even a bit more easy, even if he perhaps doesn't understand each and every detail when we give information. But he's on a good path.
Hi Daniel, we saw the attacking impact of Junior and Jayden on Saturday. We know Junior's been doing this for a long time. Did you come into the season wanting to see more from the fullbacks in an attacking sense, and having your wingers tuck in a bit more, maybe operating in the channels and having Junior and Jayden attacking more?
Yes, it was always a bit a signature of my football that I want all my players also like to attack, and especially the fullbacks were quite often involved. It depends also a bit on the qualities of the players. If you have attacking-minded fullbacks like Jayden or like Junior, I think you have to use them. If you play more with centre-back types on the fullback position, you can also leave the wingers a bit wider, so you can also have more or less the same structure, but other players cover other positions. And we always try to bring our players in positions where they naturally can use their skills in the best possible way. If we have, for example, a winger like Chris Somerville, who likes to be really right, get the ball into his foot, and then starts his 1-against-1 dribbling, I don't want to take this away, although even he played sometimes also out of the pocket. But right now we've got also players at the moment, at least on the pitch, who are good in tight areas, who can play in the pockets, who can also change their positions and play a bit flexible. But it always depends on which type of player you have on the pitch. Yeah, when, for example, Daniel James is also fit, I would like him also to use his pace and perhaps even a bit out of wider positions, because this is a bit more natural for him. So it's good to have different tools, and like I mentioned before, we also want to have this different type of players in order to mix our game up and to change also sometimes our setup in order not to be too predictable. So we'll always have our principles and our processes, but within these principles we are flexible, and for that it's important also to have players with different skills.
We can all see what Matteo is doing in a game. He's bringing so much more than goals, as you've said. But when he's a young player like that, and he clearly loves scoring, do you have to put an arm around him and just reassure him that it will come, and he is bringing so much to the team at the moment?
Yes, I'm happy with Matteo, what he's delivering. Obviously, for a striker, I was a striker myself. You're just 100% happy if you score game after game after game. That's quite normal. But I don't rate him just by his output in goals. Also, I think his work rate against the ball is excellent. His his link-up play and also how he holds the ball and works the defenders is excellent. When I think about, for example, the third goal of Joel Pirot, everyone is speaking about a magic pass of Ao Tanaka and a really good assist of Willie, and Joel Pirot does what Joel Pirot does, so everyone is praising them three. But I also praise, for example, Matteo. So under pressure, he was able in the first instance to keep the ball against aggressive forward defending of the defenders, to keep possession and to bring our midfielders into a good position. Without him in this situation to win the duel, to keep the ball, it wouldn't be possible then 7 seconds later that Joel Pirot would have scored the goal. So these are also quite important skills also for a team, and for that I'm also happy that I have Matteo and happy with the workload, and the goals will come. So he's also like he's so greedy to score, and even there he had also some good situations in front of the goal. But I have to keep in mind he's still a young player, and it's still more or less like his first season where he's also playing with games, like starting the games, and then for a club with such a heavy shirt, it's also not that easy sometimes to fulfill all the expectations. If you would be there next to his top performances already with whatever 7, 8, 9 goals under our belt, I would be even more worried about January, if I'm honest. But he can't be the finished end product at the moment, but he's also moving in the right direction. And I just can praise Matteo also like for his work for the team at the moment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Thanks, Daniel.